The video that you're about to watch is based off of documented paranormal phenomena. Today's story is located in Culver City, California. It is a cultural haven, a film production hotspot, and a foodie's dream. Located on the west side of LA, Culver City is the home of the historic Culver Studios, as well as Sony Picture Studios, which in the early 1900s was the original MGM Studios. Home design lovers can experience the cool vibe of the Helms Bakery District, a mecca for modern and mid-century furniture, occupied by artisan, unique retailers, and a slew of cool places to drink and dine. The investigation on August 22, 1974 in Culver City, California was like no other one Dr. Barry Taft and Carrie Gaynor had done. Believing this would be an open and shut case, they showed up at Doris Bither's house, not expecting much. Little did they know that this would be the biggest case in the annals of paranormal history. Dr. Barry Taft and Carrie Gaynor arrived at the 11547 Broderick Drive, Culver City home on August 22, 1974. Doris Bither, a petite woman in her 30s, greeted them. Doris Bither lived in a small home with her daughter and her 3 sons. Her daughter was 6 years old, and her boys were 10, 13, and 16.
We conducted about a 2-hour interview, and during that time she told us a lot of interesting experiences, but I knew she was holding something back. And at the end of the interview, she finally admitted to us that she was attacked and raped by the ghost. At that time, we thought she was probably crazy.
The events that then transpired over the next 10 weeks were chronicled in the Journal of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, including the night the investigators went from being skeptics to true believers.
The lady screamed out, "It's in my bedroom." We ran in there. She shouted out, "It's over in the corner." We fired our Polaroid camera in the direction that she said. We didn't see anything, but the picture came out bleached out white completely. She shouted out again, "It's in the corner." Again, we fired our camera, and it was bleached out completely. At that point, I thought the camera was just malfunctioning. I waited till she said it was gone, and I took 2 control pictures. Those pictures are perfectly normal pictures. The only difference, she said it was in the corner in the first ones, and in these, she said it was gone. A few moments later, we felt a cold breeze of air coming through the door, accompanied by a horrible stench, a stench so foul, some people were vomiting. We fired the camera in the direction that that breeze was flowing towards us, and again, the picture was bleached out completely, except at the bottom of the doorway, you can see a little round ball of light. A few minutes later, she screamed out, "It's right in front of my face." We fired the camera, and the face was completely obliterated. As you can see the curtains behind her, you can see her dress. She shouted out again, "It's right in front of my face." Again, the face is completely obliterated. Now, those were her exact words, "It's right in front of my face." Once again, I wanted a control picture. I waited till she said it was gone, and I took the final picture. And this is a perfect, normal picture. It's just dark because we didn't adjust the setting. There's a scratch on it, which we put on it when we tried to clean it a little bit. But otherwise, it's a normal picture. The only difference between these 2, in one, she said it was in front of my face. In the other one, she said it was gone.
Even with these pictures, Gaynor still had trouble convincing his colleagues at UCLA that he was on to something significant.
Initially, they would say, "Well, you're hallucinating." So then I would look at them and say, "Well, we've got 20 witnesses." And they would say, "Well, then it's obviously mass hallucination."
Gaynor returned to the house a number of times, bringing more witnesses with him, and the eerie phenomenon became even more pronounced.
We started seeing balls of light lighting up the walls, and everybody in the room would see this. And the lights would get bigger and bigger and brighter, and at some point I finally started talking to it, and I said, "Well, if you're really here, come off the wall," because what I was concerned was that somebody in the room was faking it, and they were projecting the light onto the wall. Well, when I asked that question, the light lifted off the wall, floated into the middle of our room, started spinning and twisting and expanding in different directions simultaneously. It had full parallax. We could see it from all sides, and I had 9 professional photographers set up in the room that were shooting it from all sides.
The lights came in, it was like It almost come in like in a state of anger. It almost came, all right, here I am. This is me. And it came in, it kind of did a little thing in the group, and then it was gone.
It was the most extraordinary thing we've ever come across. It happened over and over again. We experienced a plethora of phenomena during that investigation.
The part that interested me the most was the fact that what we saw, we were able to get on film.
The photographers at that session had only limited success capturing the entity on film, with one notable exception.
What we see here are reverse arcs of light. One arc goes right here, another arc goes right here. Now, the reason this picture is so important to us is that the arc on the wall, if it were really on the wall, would be bent, because those two walls there are perpendicular. It's not bent, which means the arc is floating in space. The significance of that for us as researchers is, of course, that means it's dimensional and very, very difficult to fake. This was not somebody with a flashlight shining it on a wall. That light is in empty space.
The negative of this photo was authenticated by Popular Photography and was the only alleged ghost photo ever published in the magazine. Frank DeFelitta, the author of Audrey Rose, was also witness to the phenomenon. His incredible first-hand experience in the Culver City, California house inspired him to write The Entity, which was later made into a motion picture.
All the instruments started clicking away. So I knew everyone was seeing this at the same time that I was. They were ducking, and everyone was saying, oh my God, look at that, oh my God. And then Doris started screaming. That was the woman who was being belabored by this creature. Started screaming, I don't want to see your lights, show us yourself. Damn you, show us yourself. She started cursing and swearing at it. And there, lo and behold, at that point, it started to appear. It sort of developed a kind of, a kind of arm was articulated. You could see sort of like an arm, and then a neck. And then of all things, a kind of bald head. Now, this could have been our imagination, but collectively, we saw the same thing, every one of us. We saw the same thing.
But we don't consider our pictures proof of anything. We consider them part of the struggle to gather evidence to try to understand this phenomenon. During our investigations, we spend thousands of hours trying to be in the right place at the right time. In the Entity case, for some reason, we were there. We were there at the right time. And we were experiencing the phenomena over and over again. Although some of the people there found it frightening, I found it very exciting and exhilarating. That's what I'm in this for. It's an opportunity to witness things that we've been taught all our life cannot be. It's a connection with the unknown.
From what is known, Doris Bither suffered from abuse from her parents, as well as had several abusive relationships with men. There was obvious tension between the three young boys and the mother. The psychodynamics of the home were extremely negative. It seems that the boys, especially the eldest, would harbor some dark and resentful feelings toward their mother. The unconscious mind that is troubled by a physical or verbally abusive environment and negative upbringing is like a lightning rod for paranormal activities, either attracting poltergeist activity or psychosomatically creating it. Doris Bither claimed that spirits would physically attack her. The reports ranged from Doris walking around her home and bumping into ghosts to actual spectral rape. Of course, Taft and Gaynor were skeptical of all this. Ghost apparitions are a hard thing to prove and collect evidence for. But ghostly rape? That's even harder to prove. It was not until they saw the bruises in her inner thighs and all over her body, as well as people outside the family collaborating by testifying they had also seen spiritual apparitions. There was even a time that the eldest tried to protect his mother from getting attacked and ended up getting his arm broken. Dr. Barry Taft reported that Doris Bither moved from Culver City to Carson City and from Carson to San Bernardino, California, and from San Bernardino to Texas, finally moving back to San Bernardino. While jumping around the two states, Doris reported that the phenomenon followed her and her family to every place they moved to, feeding the notion that the poltergeist phenomenon was manifestation of her own unstable environment and mind. In 1995, Doris passed away from an apparent pulmonary arrest.